Hello citizens of our nation, we're all here and today we're going to be talking about the new film, The Disaster Artist. First of all, I gotta apologize for those of you who are expecting an upload this past weekend. I am a couple days late. It was only because I had to do 3 performances of a show this past weekend, so I was a little bit busy. But you know, as they say, better late than never, so I am here and we are gonna talk about The Disaster Artist. So last week I talked about this film right here, The Room, which many believe to be the worst film ever made. And if you saw my last video, you know that I said that if you actually take this film seriously, it is the worst film ever made. However, if you don't take it seriously, it is the greatest comedy ever. The Disaster Artist is the true story of Tommy Wiseau, who is the writer, director, producer, and star of The Room, and his relationship with Greg Sestero, and it follows them in the entire process of making the movie. This film is directed by and stars James Franco, who I believe is most popular for his role as Harry Osborn in the Sam Raimi Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. I believe that this film is his directorial debut, and I gotta say, great job, man. Great debut. This film is based off of the novel of the same name, and I'll admit it, I did not read the novel. And I think that for someone who didn't read the novel, it might be easy to assume that this is just a film that's just making fun of them, making fun of The Room, and things of that sort. But to tell you the truth, I would hesitate to say that this is even a film about the making of The Room. This film at its core is really about friendship. It's about these two guys who meet each other, who share a common goal of making it big in Hollywood. They become very good friends, and this film is really a journey of the trials and tribulations of their friendship throughout the process of making The Room. The relationship between Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero is what the film is really about. The Room and the making of The Room, that's really just something that's sort of going on in the background. James Franco was absolutely perfect as Tommy Wiseau, and I'm calling it right now. He is going to get nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars this year. What I'm actually really surprised about is Dave Franco as Greg Sestero. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that he was gonna be bad, but he was actually really good. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that the only reason that they cast Dave Franco in the first place is just because he's James Franco's brother. And while I haven't seen much of Dave Franco's work, I did see that one film that he did with Emma Roberts, like the one where they were playing this like viral game over the internet. I think it's called Nerve, and that movie was terrible and I did not like him in it. But he was actually great as Greg Sestero, and he and his brother James Franco, they had such good chemistry together when they were playing these two characters. I don't know if the fact that they're brothers in real life had anything to do with that chemistry, but either way, great job! The film has a screenplay that is written by Scott Neustadter, I'm sorry, I know I am butchering that name, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Michael H. Weber. And I gotta say, I freaking love these two guys. They are by far some of my favorite screenwriters working in the industry today. They've written the scripts for films such as 500 Days of Summer, The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, and The Spectacular Now, which, by the way, is one of my all-time favorite films ever. What I really like about them is that they are somehow able to inject humor into the most dramatic moments without taking away any of the seriousness. The Disaster Artist was no different. They did a great job. This was a fantastic screenplay. When you put this screenplay together along with the talents of James and Dave Franco, this film is really quite a journey. It's pretty emotional, but it's also lighthearted and funny at the same time. Like seriously, at the end of the movie when Tommy Wiseau has finished making The Room and he premieres it, we all know the reaction that that film got, and you actually feel really bad for the guy because you just witness him on this journey with his friend, putting his everything into this movie, and it is getting trashed on and laughed at, and you really feel bad for the guy. Another thing that I have to commend this movie for is its depiction of what it's like to make a movie. Now personally, whenever I've seen a movie or a TV show that has characters that are making a movie or a TV show, they never seem to get the process down right, which is kind of ironic if you ask me. I have been on several film sets before, and even if things are going well, it's always crazy, it's always a challenge, it's always a little bit frantic. And I think that this film really nails the essence of that really well. The film crew, to me, felt like a real film crew and not just actors playing people who are part of a film crew, which is what it usually feels like to me. They behaved and they acted like they were on an actual film set, which was really refreshing. And whenever you're on a film set and you're in between takes, there's always people moving, moving to do their job, do whatever it is that they have to do next for the next take or for the next setup or the next shot, and you get the gist of it. I think that this film portrays that really well, and not just with the actors playing the film crew, but also in the style that the film is shot and edited, and all the camera movements that happen as well. As someone who went to film school and knows a lot about film production, I really appreciated that. Making a film and being on a film set is so frantic. And other than this, I think that the only other film that I've seen that really nailed it down so well was that Steve Buscemi film from the 90s called Living in Oblivion, I think. As for negatives, I really only have one or two things to say, and they're really kind of sort of just nitpicks. Now once again, I must reiterate, I did not read the book that this film is based on. To my understanding of how things happen in real life, Tommy Wiseau was very hurt by the reception that The Room got, and it wasn't until almost over a year later that he let any theater screen it again. He was hesitant to let any theater screen it again despite having a pretty solid demand for it, and it took him a little while to really embrace the film's status as the worst film ever made. This film kinda just glossed over that really quickly, and he goes from being hurt to embracing the film's status as the worst film ever made in all of 2 seconds. Furthermore, I would have liked to see how the relationship between Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero continued to develop as The Room attained its cult status in our culture. And one final thing, there is a moment where Greg Sestero is faced with a really big decision that he has to make. No spoilers, I'm not gonna tell you what that decision is, but I would have liked to have seen the repercussions of that decision. Again, just like the other thing that I mentioned, that is something that I feel is really just glossed over, and you really don't feel the importance of that at all. Overall, The Disaster Artist is a very entertaining and very interesting look into the lives of Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero and the making of their film, The Room, the worst film ever made. If you like that film, you will definitely enjoy The Disaster Artist. On my rating scale, The Disaster Artist gets a 9 out of 10. So, The Disaster Artist, have you guys seen it? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Or do you want to see it? Why or why not? Comment down below. Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe today for more content. Farewell, citizens of our nation. Catch you all next time.